Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jody Anderson-Duquette here with Workamper News. And if you're not familiar with us, we have been helping great people find great jobs in great places for about 37 years now. And for quite a bit of that time, we have had the pleasure of working with Delaware North, and they hire work campers to help operate the Yellowstone General Stores. So today, the Delaware North team, we have Kayla and Linda online with us. They are going to take you through a presentation to give you all the ins and outs of work camping for Yellowstone General Stores. And then once we get through that presentation, we're happy to take your questions. So those of you who are attending live with us, please feel free to type in any questions that you have at any time. If you're on a desktop or laptop computer, you should have a GoToWebinar control panel with a chat or question section that you can type into. If you are on a smartphone or tablet, you should have that option on the bottom of your screen where you can tap on the chat, type in your questions, and then tap back to the presentation. We are going to share a little video. It's a really great video. So we'll be switching between the PowerPoint and that video. So just bear with us as we make that transition during the presentation, but it should be great. You guys are going to learn a lot. Now, we are recording this webinar today. Everyone who registered, we're going to send you guys an email with a link to the recording, so that way you can watch it again, or feel free to forward that on to any of your Workamper friends that you think may also enjoy coming with you to work in Yellowstone for the summer. All right, I think that's all the housekeeping we need to take care of. I'm excited to turn it over to you guys. Linda and Kayla, thank you both so much for taking the time out to share about your great work camping opportunities.
Thank you very much. We're happy to be here with everyone today. Kayla and I are going to take a few minutes to introduce ourselves. My name is Linda Marquardt, and I am the recruiter for Yellowstone General Stores. I was in the same spot you are 4 years ago, listening to this Workamper webinar along with my husband. We were starting out in work camping and wondering what it was all about. We watched this webinar, got an interview, and 3 years later, after 2 seasons as a work camper, one as a floor supervisor, the second year as a store manager, I was brought on full-time as the Yellowstone recruiter. So I'm excited to be here with you guys. It truly is an adventure that I love to share. Kayla?
Hi everyone. I am Kayla Clark. I am a staffing manager here in our Parks and Resorts division at Delaware North. I've been with Delaware North almost 10 years in various HR positions, and I transitioned into this role in about May or June this year, working with Linda. She lives in Yellowstone. I live in New York, so we are always communicating virtually. We actually were together a little over a week ago in Tampa at the RV show. So we may have met some of you guys already, but we are excited to talk about Yellowstone and our opportunities that we have for work campers, and I hope you guys have some questions for us at the end, and we're excited to get to show you everything that we have.
We're so glad that you've joined us today to learn more about Yellowstone. We hope that we're able to answer your questions at the end and write them down as the presentation goes on. The point of this presentation is to give you an idea of what it's like to work and live in the Yellowstone National Park.
Okay, so we are going to pull up a little video that sort of shows the living and working at Yellowstone, and we have some of our employees giving their stories, and let's see if we can get it started.
Looking good, Kayla.
Okay, cool.
Everything's great. The hot springs are great, the geysers are cool, but the mountains just stand out to me.
That looks so exciting, and I saw some international people talking about how they love working in the country, and then they interviewed somebody my age who said, I love working for Yellowstone General Stores because I get to work with people from all over the world. I was like, that's where I want to work.
Living right here on the geyser basin, obviously geysers are quite a passion of mine. It's great living somewhere where I'm woken up not by sirens, but by beehive in the middle of the night. So that's awesome.
I think that canyon would be my favorite spot so far in the park. It's just breathtaking. It takes us like 10 minutes to get there. So sometimes we just go there on our breaks, which is great.
Grand Prismatic.
The Grand Prismatic.
That is, without a doubt, breathtaking and awe-inspiring, you know.
Actually, I love Canyon, the best one, because we can like hike to different places like at the upper fall and the lower fall, and there are so many trails we can hike. And the canyon is very gorgeous, like, yeah.
I just keep coming here for the hiking, the nature, and most of them is for the people I know right here.
You're gonna meet people from everywhere, different countries, different states, who've all been through different things, so you'll hear different cool stories.
And I like the dorm, like it's clean and we have a roommate, but not so many roommates, yeah.
I like our RV site.
Yeah. And the RV site's really good.
That's worth the commitment. And in this particular campground, as you can see, we have room between us. So we have our privacy, we have our quiet.
By all means, you can bring your pets with you, living here in the RV park.
I'm amassing this amazing photography collection of all the, we just saw baby bighorns the other day, which was crazy. Last night we saw a grizzly and a cub. It's never ending amazement.
If you like the nature, and you definitely have to come to Yellowstone because you can see so many beautiful things just by walking maybe 5 minutes.
Oh gosh, well I love both Lamar and Hayden valleys. You know, just first they're just so beautiful and expansive, and you know the views are fabulous.
3 years ago, my sister came here, and also she was a cashier working Canyon Village, and she told me a lot of things about Yellowstone, and that made me really want to come here. And then like 3 years later, like my classmate also want to like get a work in USA, and so we decided to come to Yellowstone to work together, and I think that's a very great decision we made. Yeah.
Right, whenever I'm telling people, if I'm trying to get them interested, one of the questions I'll ask them, how would you like me to pay you to live and work in Yellowstone?
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people are like, oh, so you're volunteers. I'm like, no, this is an actual job. It's 5 days a week.
Yeah.
It's an actual job. It's a paid position, but it's nothing like any job I've ever had in my life.
It's not a job. We get to play and live in Yellowstone and get paid.
I love it. Like everything is like well organized. Yeah, we like hang out a lot. There's always like bunch of us like hiking together.
Just there's such a diversity since there's so many people working here. You have an opportunity to meet a great diversity of people from all over the world, and so a community definitely builds there. And if you're just walking around the geyser basin, sitting and waiting for a geyser, it's amazing how many people you get to meet just doing that. It's a great place to just have a break from your life and enjoy something different.
And just be prepared to work hard, but to have lots of fun while working and on your days off. Work hard, play hard, and that's what we do.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next slide. We can still see everything, right, everyone?
It hasn't come up yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
not yet, Kayla. Did you hit play on that sharing button? There we go. Now we're cooking.
Okay, awesome. There we go. Okay.
Great job.
So after watching that video and just kind of thinking, why would you want to work in Yellowstone? Well, here on the screen are just various wildlife that is roaming around in Yellowstone. There's grizzly bears, bison. You see the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone and the hydrothermal features throughout the park. Let's see, get to the next one. There we go.
In this presentation, we'll cover a good amount of information to help you understand what it's like to live and work in Yellowstone, who Delaware North is, and our associates, and the application process.
Okay, so Delaware North is a global leader in hospitality and food service, global company that actually started in Buffalo, New York, where I'm from. And as you can see through this slide, we operate in different lodging, sporting, airports, and gaming and entertainment industries. We have a vast variety of subsidiaries that provide different industry services. And here in Yellowstone, we are part of the Parks and Resorts subsidiary. In addition to Yellowstone, Delaware North provides recreational guest services in some of the most beautiful and interesting areas in the country, including Sequoia and Kings Canyon, Grand Canyon National Park, Shenandoah National Park, Kennedy Space Center, and also Niagara Falls State Park. And within Yellowstone National Park area, we have Yellowstone General Stores, what we're talking about today. Also our YVT or Yellowstone Vacations during the winter, so like snowmobiling. And then we have 3 hotels within the Yellowstone area as well that we operate.
That gave you a good idea about our parent company, and this is a little bit more about our general stores. We operate 11 general stores in the park. These are photos that shows you some of them. Once you get employed, people have their favorite. It's usually your first store. But as you can see on the map, they range from the north to the south. And I suggest if you're going to apply for a position that you kind of Google each store and see what each one's about. We have very large stores and very small stores, and your preference would be their location and their size. So something to take into consideration as you go through the application process.
Okay, so continuing on to our general stores. Like Linda just said, we operate 11 different stores throughout Yellowstone National Park. Our stores are truly general stores. So we provide visitors an array of gifts, apparel, groceries, camping supplies, jewelry, and food services throughout our stores. Our store dates of operation do vary, staggering opening from late April to late June, and then staggered closing from early September to October. We have a variety of dates available for hiring throughout that period, and we do ask for a minimum of at least 2 months, a 2-month commitment. The longer the time frame, the better, of course. But just let us know when you are available, and we will try our best to find a good fit for you.
Our talented team, we bring together a group of enthusiastic, diverse, and hardworking associates of all ages and backgrounds that share in our goal of providing exceptional guest services. We have retirees, college students, international students that all live and work together. Personally, that's one of the best parts of Yellowstone. It's the most inclusive community you'll work in. And you get to experience over 4 million visitors from all over the world. And we strive to provide exceptional memories to each of them. It's hard work in a really busy environment, but we consider it a trade-off to live and work in Yellowstone.
Okay, so living at Yellowstone. So our associates all live on or near their work location. So we provide dormitories or RV sites for our team members. Most RV sites are within walking distance from the store, with a few a little further, which we can discuss during the interview process. Site arrangements for RVs are made by management and are based on the specifications of your RVs. Our sites can accommodate up to 45-foot long RVs, depending on the RV's overhang. These RV sites are not super fancy. They are adequate and provide the basic needs. So it is good to know that our RV sites can be rustic depending on the location. So most sites are gravel or dirt, and very few have paved areas. Our RV sites rates do vary depending on the assigned location. Site ranges from $50 to $80 per week, and that is deducted through our payroll deduction weekly. And we charge per site, not per person. So if a couple joins, only one person would need to pay for the site. We do have propane available at our Fishing Bridge and Grant locations, but all of the YPSS locations have exchange services for 5-pound propane tanks. Our lake RV, a lake employee RV park, or the LERV that we call it, does have ground propane, which is included in the weekly fee. Some of our RV parks do offer comfort stations, which have separate shower and toilet areas and laundry. Be sure to let us know in your interview whether you are self-contained or do require a comfort station, and we can best direct you from there. Some living options in the campgrounds that are not permitted are living out of your car with a tent or awning. Those are not permitted, along with anything soft-sided. We do allow pets. Pets are permitted on the employee campground. Pets must be kept on a leash no longer than 6 feet. Pets cannot be tied out of the RV without a person present. They cannot be left unattended at any time. Pets must be contained in the RV when you are not present. And they cannot be left in a screened awning and must be inside the RV with the door closed. There are no areas which permit free roaming of pets in the park. Pets are not permitted in the backcountry or any trail or boardwalk in Yellowstone. Pets are permitted to be walked in the employee RV park with a leash and on the blacktop roads. Coolers are allowed, but they must be kept inside and are not permitted to be left outside of the trailer overnight. Coolers are bear tractors, and you could be fined for leaving the cooler outside by NPS. Trash must not be left outside at any time. There are rubbish bins available at every employee RV park. So 10 out of our 11 stores offer a meal program. We have employee dining areas in 10 of the 11 stores. The meal program is 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, and that is $75 a week per person. It is optional for our RVers. This is a charge that is also payroll deducted and deducted weekly. We also offer a lunch only option for our RVers, which is $37.50 per week. And the employee dining rooms are located at either of the stores or the dorms of the locations, generally walking distance from the RV sites. Our Mammoth store is the only store that does not offer a meal program. but there is a break room with a fridge and microwave for lunches. The meal plan is mandatory for our dorm team members, and that is $75 a week.
So living in Yellowstone, the big question is technology always. Think back about 10 years to the technology that we had then. That's what we have in Yellowstone today. Each of our stores is equipped with Starlink, but that is not at the campgrounds. That is just at the store locations. And because of heavy use, even with Starlink, communications can be delayed, service can be sketchy. One of the best providers in the park is Verizon. You won't always have a great connection when you have peak season. Everybody's trying to use their internet at the same time or their Wi-Fi at the same time, and it can be really sketchy. So if you have to be connected at all times, it's best to have your own service at your RV, or to know that you're going to have to live without it. You may have to drive to a location that has better service. So keep that in mind. When you're thinking about technology, it is very, very delayed here. Mail. Most of the parks have villages with little local post offices. You are able to get mail at our warehouse that is then sent to each store daily. So there is a delay on that. So just be aware if you need like prescriptions and things and are having them mailed that there may be a delay. We do have PO boxes at a few of our locations as Canyon and Old Faithful. There is a PO box there where mail can be sent directly. We recommend that you don't have anything sent 10 days prior to your departure, as like I said, the mail can be delayed. There are clinic charge services and charges weekly. All associates working in Yellowstone are required by the National Park Service to participate in a mandated seasonal employee health plan. The program costs are determined per week, and this is not an insurance, but is intended to provide operating funds to make medical services available in 3 locations in the park. Other insurance is primary, but associates receive a discount at the clinic services. Yellowstone is remote, far from medical services. Anyone requiring frequent or complicated medical services will find it inconvenient. If associates have persistent medical needs, we recommend bringing medical notes with you. Groceries. We have basic groceries available in the general stores, and associates receive a discount. Most people prefer to stock up at grocery stores outside the park. Those can be found in West Yellowstone, Montana, Cody, Wyoming, Bozeman, Montana, and Jackson, Wyoming. All of those are quite a distance, so you need to stock up and plan for that. Pharmacies, to receive your medication, we recommend that you get them sent through mail order. Pharmacies are not available in the park clinics, but the park clinics may be able to help in an emergency situation. The nearest pharmacies are also in those outlying towns of West Yellowstone, Cody, Wyoming, and Bozeman, Montana. Fuel, there are fuel stations inside the park. They're operated and they provide diesel. Some of them have propane and gasoline. Also in the surrounding communities, you can also get all those services. The employees in the RV park, the LURB, have that underground liquid propane hookups. Like electricity, the cost of propane is included at those locations. If you need to have your tanks filled, though, that must be done at the service stations.
Okay, so working at Yellowstone, we'll kind of get into uniforms now. So We do provide the Yellowstone General Stores shirts, but we do ask our associates to bring their own blue jeans in good conditions. No holes, no really cuts in them or bleaching. And the appropriate shoes that are neutral in color and cover your feet, your entire foot. Most employees wear sneakers or their hiking boots. Some positions may require a different uniform, but we will discuss that at the time of the interview. And appearance standards are conservative. Earrings are allowed, only 2 per ear, and no other visible piercings. Work schedules. Store services are open to guests 7 days a week during the season. You will have a 5-day work week, allowing you to have 2 consecutive days off during the week to explore the park and have your time off. Our positions are full-time, ranging from 32 to 40 hours per week during those 5 days. Schedules and days off are set by the store managers. So with couples, spouses, friends, and companions, our goal is to be able to provide you with the same days off, which typically means that you will be assigned to different departments within the store. So an example of that is one person may work in retail and the other may work in grocery, but within the same store. Operation hours may lead to having split or different shifts during when you are working the same day. Moving on to wage, the base wage for our seasonal non-tip positions is $17.75 per hour, with some positions paying having a different range depending on the job duties and responsibilities. All hourly associates are paid weekly on Fridays, and we have the option for paper check, money card, or direct deposit. It is important to note that our employees who are working in our warehouse, our admin roles, or any of the hotels in West Yellowstone are considered Montana employees and will be subject to Montana's tax withholding. Within the actual park, in the store locations, that is Wyoming, so it would be Wyoming tax withholding. All housing, meals, and health program costs are payroll deducted. So it's already going to be taken out of your check before you receive it on Fridays.
So working at Yellowstone, our jobs are primarily retail and food service positions, but they also include custodial, warehouse, receiving associates, electricians, maintenance, fleet mechanics, drivers, employee dining room staff. There's a really big variety of positions. So the requirements for our jobs are first and foremost the flexibility and willingness to be a team member. Minimal physical requirements, there is a physical requirement of being able to stand for long periods of time, be able to bend, stoop, kneel, and climb stairs, as well as to carry 30 to 50 pounds occasionally. Some positions may have greater weight. We also do provide, lifting assistance for those weights as well. All stores are located at an altitude of 6,000 to 8,000 feet. If you're unsure if you can live and work at that altitude, please make sure that you speak to your doctor. If you have a health condition that may be affected by altitude, please get cleared by a physician. Know that happens often. Something that at sea level is not a problem, but once you get to the elevation, it may become a problem. Per the National Park Service, all associates must pass a pre-employment background check and outstanding wants and warrants before the offer is accepted, or after the offer is accepted, I'm sorry. We'll go over this further during your interview time.
Okay, so exploring Yellowstone. So as we've stated, in Yellowstone there are an abundance of hiking, fishing, camping, and wildlife viewing that you can do on your days off or after work. There are over 1,000 miles of hiking trails in Yellowstone alone. So the Yellowstone Co-op Employee Recreation Program is a free service to the park employees that offer trips around the park. They lead hiking and backpacking trips, rafting trips, sporting events, talent shows, contests, and more. There are interpretive programs offered by the National Park Service, by Yellowstone Forever program as well. Interpretive programs offered by NPS include campground presentations, guided ranger walks and talks, visitor center museum displays, and they're generally free of charge. Yellowstone Forever offers educational programs in addition to the NPS programs, actual classroom and field studies. There can be a cost to attend, but sometimes they do offer employee discounts.
Delaware North and Yellowstone General Stores offers some employee engagements as well. The first one is the hike-a-thon. Learn how to safely hike in Yellowstone and start putting on miles. A hike-a-thon is our employee hike program where you win prizes just for going out and exploring Yellowstone. We also offer the Adventure Guide program, and it's a program for employee education, and is designed to encourage and provide associates with accurate and educational knowledge of all the Yellowstone Park and the surrounding region and what it has to offer, contributing to a once-in-a-lifetime visitor's experience through superior customer service and interpretation. Each medal level has an activity sheet and a test and a prize. Green Path is Delaware North's environmental management portfolio platform, which showcases our commitment to stewardship. Yellowstone General Stores has one of the 0 waste warehouses in the national park. We're the first, and we've maintained it for like the last 5 years of being a 0 waste warehouse. Each store will have a voluntary safety committee that will meet and talk about safety information, training, and give feedback and suggestions back to management. Each store also has individual things that they plan, and Yellowstone General Stores has van trips that are planned once season is at peak, about once a week, to take associates that don't have transportation or those that don't want to drive to either one of the outside towns or to do something in the park.
Okay, so benefits. Other than waking up in Yellowstone every morning and being able to experience different climates through Yellowstone, we do offer a few other benefits. Our associates receive 30% discount on gift, apparel, and grocery items in the general stores. This does not include alcohol, tobacco, batteries, or camera equipment. We do offer a select 50% off employee discount days during the season as well. And then you also receive free entry into Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park. A little bit before on the other slide, we talked about Green Path, which is our green initiative. So being a part of a group that focuses on the times to preserve that area, we are lucky to call enough our home in Yellowstone. We do offer medical, dental, and vision benefits to our team members hired at full-time seasonal status. More information on that, if needed, can be provided during the hiring process. And lastly, we do offer a completion bonus at the end of your contract. So if you stay on for your full time that you are committing to come and work, you'll be able to receive a completion bonus from there.
So are you ready for the adventure? Our basic time frame is a minimal of 2 to 3 month commitment, but of course we encourage longer and full seasons. Peak season for us is June through August, but September is becoming really busy as well. We reach out to applicants to see what best fits you and conduct a phone interview. If you're able to offer you a position, you'll get a job offer letter, and then you will have to accept. We use a system called ISEMS, and all of our processing is done through that. And you will we will have to have a background check of roughly 30 to 60 days prior to your start date. We'll continue to do correspondence via email until your check-in date. So if you get hired in the next few months and your check-in date isn't until May, know that you'll start getting regular correspondence from us a few months before your start date, so we haven't forgotten about you. If you're interested in working in Yellowstone, you need to go to the link displayed on the screen and complete an application. You only need one application per person, but it is also important that we get one per person, not one per couple or one per partners. You can apply at any time. Applications are online now. We know that circumstances change, so that if you apply and you take a position and you're not able to come, we ask that you just please let us know that as well. And if you're interested in a shorter period of time and we don't have an opening, we can place you onto our wait list, and then we'll call you as things open during the season.
All right, so that is the end of our presentation, and we thank everyone for listening and considering us for summer in Yellowstone. Again, applications can be submitted through our website, and you can always contact us through email or phone if you have any questions. Now we can turn it over to any live questions that you have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Linda and Kayla. Lots of really good information there. So attendees, now it is your time to shine. Those of you with questions, if there's something we didn't cover, if you would just like something to be iterated again, please feel free to type in your questions. If you are on a desktop or laptop computer, you should have that GoToWebinar control panel there with a box where you can type into. If you're on a smartphone or tablet, you should have an option on the bottom of your screen to tap where you can type in questions that you have. While we're letting some questions come in here, is there a general phone number that's best to call? Like you said, you know, your email addresses are here on the screen, but was there a phone number as well? I think you mentioned, Kayla.
Yes, I can give you my cell, and I think that might be on our employer page on the webinar on Workampers. I hope it is. It is 716-476-0268.
Okay, awesome. All right, we'll make a reference of that for folks. And so like Kayla mentioned, Delaware North has been a featured employer with us here at workamper.com for many, many years. I've had the pleasure of visiting the Yellow General Stores myself in person and talking with the HR team and going through the areas and meeting work campers that were working there. And it is such a cool experience, and I know it's on a lot of work campers' bucket lists. So hopefully you guys, this presentation is giving you some good information so that way you can make the determination on if this opportunity will be right for you or not. And if you do have other interests of working in Yellowstone, there are other, you know, concessionaires and maybe other opportunities that are available, but the Delaware North team won't be able to answer questions on those. So if you're interested in other opportunities, you'll have to contact those other entities directly. So just wanted to get that out of the way here. All right, lots of good questions coming in. I'm going to try to group them as best I can so we're not jumping around too much here. All right, let's dig into some information about our V sites. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting on the information about the utilities, if electric is included, if it's billed extra, And then also about propane, there was some confusion on propane.
Linda, you want to take that one?
Certainly. So all of the utilities are included. So in past, and others may have heard this webinar at other years, electric was billed separately. It is now included. So that $80 a week includes your electric, full hookups, and our sites, although we say a maximum of 45 feet, that varies per location. So I know that'll be a question as well. You know, most of these sites are heavily treed. And so if you have 4 slides and are 44 foot, you know, it may be a little bit difficult. We'll do our best to place you, but your location may be determined by the size of your rig as well. And then the propane question, at the LERV, we have what they call like onboard propane. So there's actually at your site, propane can be dispensed, and that is included at that location for that $80 fee. Propane refills would have to be done outside the park. A lot of us had what we called like an extended tank so that we didn't have to move our rig. We would just get this tank and go to the local gas station or outside the park to have those filled.
Okay, and was that like those extra tanks and stuff, was that facilitated through like Yellowstone Park service stations or another entity that operates around the park?
As far as getting them filled with inside the park?
Yeah, and that extra tank that you said that you got, was that just something that you bought personally, or was that provided by a propane service?
No, there's no longer a propane service that operates within the park, so those are all private tanks.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And do I remember you guys mentioning that the Yellowstone Park service stations, which there are a few around the park, they do the propane tank exchange, but they don't fill tanks. Is that correct?
It depends on the location. The Fishing Bridge location does fill tanks. The Canyon location exchanges tanks. So it just goes on location. So, and I don't know any more specifics than that because those were the ones that I had use of.
Sure, sure, absolutely. Okay, sounds good. And as far as the electricity on the RV sites, is it 30 amp only, 50 amp only, either or?
That varies per location as well. In Gardner, Montana, where our Mammoth Store RV sites are located, it is 30 amp only. And then it would vary per site, actually, at each campground. So we do have 50 available, but 30 is more common.
Sure.
Our Grant location, I'm sorry, our Grant location has multiple 50 amp sites.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Very cool. And something maybe we didn't talk too much about yet is the weather. So I know, you're thinking summertime, and maybe those of us, who've been in RVs and been somewhere where it's really warm in the summer, those 1 to 3 air conditioners might be cranking all summer. But I think the summer's a little more mild there, so you're not necessarily, running those air conditioning units nonstop. So maybe even if you are a 50 amp rig, you might be able to get away with 30 amp service for the summer. What do you think about that, Linda?
You're right, Jody. When I was up in Canyon myself, that's where my location was. I had never turned on my air conditioning once for 2 straight summers. So it's very it varies, per location as well. But it is a lot cooler than it is, and it's very dry here, so you don't have humidity. So that plays a big role too. Some of the locations, and some people just prefer air conditioning, but most of the time you don't need it. Maybe August for a few days, but yeah, the weather is varied. We can have snow as late as June and as early as September. Those usually aren't sticking snows. Those are usually just a dusting, but yeah, we would be more on the cool side than the hot side. We have lots of folks from Florida and Texas that come up here to spend the summer with us to get out of that heat.
Sure, sure.
I
Yeah.
will
All right.
add, I will add something in that I just thought about. If you have sinuses who are affected by weather, I would consider that also on like picking a specific location. I did visit Yellowstone in late July, early August, and I was miserable with my allergies and sinuses. So that definitely can play also. I think if I was there for the full summer, I would get used to it, but that is something that could also play into it. And it could be like if it's easier for you to maybe be closer to water, you may want to consider lake or fishing bridge, those areas when you are thinking of coming.
Absolutely. And as far as elevation as well, I think I saw a work camper mention that they had a little bit of a harder time because of the elevation there based on what they were used to. So that's something to consider as well.
Definitely. That's probably one of the most prevalent health condition is elevation sickness, especially right upon arrival. And some people it lasts for quite a while. If you haven't worked at a high elevation, it's very important that you hydrate, starting about 2 weeks before you even start coming, because it's so dry up here in the elevation, it'll affect you really quickly. So, and like I mentioned in the webinar, if you have a health condition, ask your physician, could this be exacerbated by elevation? It's a remote place. Medical care is quite a ways away. We do have emergency services and they'll medevac you out, but of course you don't want that to happen. So, it's best to err on the side of caution and make sure that you're healthy enough to make the journey.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, all right. Getting back to RV sites, campground areas, is there an age limit for RVs?
We do not have an age limit on them, but they must be in good operating, conditions. I know a lot of parks have a 10-year. We do not put that restriction on. National Park Service is ultimately the one that would make the decision. So if you have something questionable, you might want to, send us a picture that we could get it approved, but we wouldn't want you to get all the way here and then them not be happy. Definitely no soft sides, no living or working out of a car or a van. Your vehicle must be self-contained. Two reasons for that. One, some of our comfort stations might be a ways from where your site is, and some of them don't have comfort stations. So you must be self-contained, meaning that you can shower and toilet in your RV.
Okay. And if a work camper has a Class B RV where they do, it's considered a camper van, but they have, like what you said, they have, some plumbing, shower, toilet, etc. Would that still be okay?
Yes, that's acceptable.
Okay, very cool. All right. And again, how far away are the RV sites from the work areas?
Less than a mile, except for our Mammoth store, which is 7 miles. The Mammoth campground is located in Gardner, Montana, which is a 7-mile commute. So that store, we do not have any on-site in the park RV sites there, and we do not offer dorms at Mammoth. And that store is open year-round. But that one is a 7-mile commute. Otherwise, all of them are within a mile and within walking distance.
Okay, awesome. And you mentioned that some of the RV camping areas do have the comfort stations, which may include laundry facilities. If the associates are at a campground that doesn't have those, are they able to, is there laundry facilities in the dormitories that they might be able to use or at the store?
Yeah, the only one that does not have a laundry facility is our campground in West, but we have employee housing in West, and they're able to use the employee housing laundry, but that is a paid laundry facility. The rest of them are not.
Cool. Okay, very cool. All right, so if the comfort stations, shower, toilets, laundry, super important to y'all, then just make sure to mention that during your guys' interview that y'all have. Okay, are employees allowed to park at the general stores if they're driving to work?
Yes, there is designated employee parking. It's usually behind the facility, but it is usually limited. So we ask that, you know, if you can commute in another way. A lot of people walk, bike, or even carpool.
Sure, sure. Are associates allowed to have electric bicycles?
Yes, electric bicycles are accepted within the national park, but they are not allowed on any of the trails. So they would be allowed the same places that cars are, but not on any trails.
Okay, super. Alrighty. And do you guys have on your website, or I'm not sure if it'd be on the Yellowstone National Park Service website, but a map showing where the campgrounds are for the employees? I don't know that I've ever seen one.
No, each of them, you can actually like Google Earth each store and
Yeah.
and zoom in, and you can see where the employee campgrounds are. Like I said, most of them are within a half mile, the furthest being a mile. We do not share them with the public, so they are shared though with the National Park Service and the other concessionaires, which are Xanterra and Yellowstone Forever. Our employee campgrounds are shared with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's one of the super cool things too, is you really are put into a special community when you're there. You know, just like you said, Linda, you're not interacting as much with the, you know, weekend campers, vacation campers. You're literally living amongst a community of your fellow work campers, whether it be, you know, with another concessionaire or the one that you're working for. And that's going to give you such a great opportunity for, you know, networking, and things go wrong in your RV, you got your community to help you, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's a really fun environment.
Absolutely. Okay, awesome. All right. Oh, so many questions, you guys. Really good questions too. I promise I'm getting all of them. I'm just trying to stay connected here. Okay, let's talk about. Oh, one more question about RV sites. I almost missed it here. Are there campsites that have more open skies, like if they are a Starlink internet user or a satellite TV user? Could they potentially have a site that would accommodate that?
That's location varied as well, but most everybody, even though that there are tree covered, are able to find a clearing. I haven't heard many people have an issue if they have Starlink or a satellite TV, you know, problem. So.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty. And just touching on this here, are RV sites available for solo workers? And that could be one person traveling by themselves, one person in an RV, or maybe there are, you know, two people in an RV, but only one of them wants to come work for Yellowstone General Stores. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Kayla, you want to cover that?
Yes, we do have a jobs available for solo RVers. Of course, we do prefer if the two people want to come and work. That's great. The more the merrier. But we do offer solo RVers. And yes, if there is a couple coming that would like to, and one person would like to work, that's totally fine. So we have people do it all the time every year.
Sure. And what about families? If folks are coming and maybe they have, you know, children that are not of working age, or maybe working age. So if they have teenagers coming, could the teenagers apply to work? But then also sub question, if there are kids that are younger and there's a parent or two parents, are you guys able to accommodate schedules so the kiddos can be taken care of?
Yes, so we have had families come in the past and work where maybe one parent works and the other one takes care of the kids, or the schedules are varied, so they do have time with the kids. Right now, all of our positions are for 18 and older, so there may be some opportunity for our younger folks. I believe, what's the age? 16 and older, that could potentially work at some of our locations. It does depend on the position. But we tell everyone to treat your RV site like your own. So your families can join, you can have visitors come. So yeah, we've had families in the past come, and we do our best to accommodate with scheduling.
Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so a little transitional question here. Are there more RV sites versus dormitory, or more dormitory versus RV sites? I guess, do you guys know the ratio between the two?
We have, I would actually say, limited RV sites. We have more opportunities for dorm living because all of the dorms are shared. So, you know, some of our facilities have very large dorms, and with the double occupancy, there's definitely more dorm space than there is RV space. And some of our locations have more of a limitation of RV sites than we do dorms, for sure.
Sure. Okay. All right. So getting into talking about the dormitories here, another question that came in was if pets are allowed in the dorms.
We do not allow pets unless they're an ESA certified animal. So they must be ESA certified, and that goes through our human resource department prior to hire.
Sure. Okay. And as far as the dormitory goes, you mentioned double occupancy. So in all of the dorms, just to clarify, it's 2 people to a room. And are there any possibilities for single room accommodations?
I can take that one.
Go ahead, Kayla. Yep.
And correct me if I misspeak. So inside the park, there are it is 2 people to a room. In our in West Montana, for like the admin and warehouse positions, we do have shared apartments that can have up to 4 people in those apartments. Single use rooms are scarce, so I would not guarantee that that is a possibility. It kind of all depends on how, I guess, things happen. It could be that we have all RVers coming on board at a location, and we have enough space at that specific location where we can have people have single space. But it really depends. So I wouldn't say ultimately yes to that, that there is an option for a single use room for the dorms.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think we've covered all the dormitory questions. So let's move to the meal plan. Can the meal plan be dropped or added during the time that you're there if you're staying in the RV sites?
It can only be done once per season. So if you choose not to have it when you first come in, you may sign up for it one time. But if you sign up for it and then drop it, you cannot sign up again. So there's one option to change your meal plan.
Okay. Okay. And thinking about the clinic that you guys mentioned that operates in the park, that is a weekly fee. Of course, a lot of folks are wondering approximately what that fee might be, or if you guys can give a range.
Kayla, do you have it in front of you? I don't have the exact amount. I don't want to quote it wrong.
I am taking a look right now. I was just asking if you had it in front of you.
Oh, okay.
I am it's $8.05 a week.
And that would be per person.
Yes.
Okay. And like you said, that might vary during the season.
Yes, it can possibly vary. It usually does yearly also.
Okay. Okay. And as far as the clinics go, do you guys know, like you said, if an individual has health insurance, that would be their primary. Do you know if the clinics would take Medicare as a primary insurance?
You know, that I'm not sure of. The clinics are run by a group called STI. So, they would be able to reach out to them directly because we really don't have anything to do with the clinics directly. I know that, the regular health insurance is used there, but I'm not sure about Medicare.
Sure. Yeah, definitely a question for them specifically. And really the clinics are there, just to help out if folks have a minor medical need. A couple people were just wondering like what the clinics kind of were actually for.
They're more or less like an immediate care, but they don't do routine blood work. They don't do they'll do sick visits, those kinds of things, but they do not do any like follow-up care. You would have to go to one of our outside towns for that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And the clinics are there, and like you guys are required for your associates to participate in the clinic fees. That's like a National Park Service thing because you guys are operating in the national park, right? So, I mean, this isn't something that you guys just came up with and decided to do. This is like a Yellowstone thing, right?
That is correct. All the concessionaires have to take part in that. So every associate that's employed within the National Park Service, that fee helps to staff and service those clinics.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, very cool. All right, so let's talk about here, because those, the meal plan and the clinic and the RV site fee are payroll deductions. So some folks are wondering if that's, so the deductions, is it deducted from the gross income? And so that stuff's deducted before they're taxed. Yeah.
I believe so. I can see if I can get an answer directly on that. I'm just thinking of how normally payroll works, and I do believe it is before taxes are taken out, but I can confirm that and get back to you, Jody.
Okay, sure thing. All right, and any kind of range, okay, because like we also talked about how some of the jobs, a couple of the jobs are Montana based, so the Montana state tax rules would apply to those positions, and then other positions, a lot of them are Wyoming, so they would have whatever the Wyoming state taxes are. So a couple folks were just wondering if you could say a range of what the take-home pay might be after the deductions using either Montana or Wyoming. You guys may not be able to, you may not have that math available quickly to you.
That one's a tough.
I was gonna say that that would be something that you would have to, it depends, if your starting pay is $17.75, you take away, the fees for the clinic, your meal plan, your site or dorm. Wyoming does not have the state income tax. So your federal tax would be on your deductions. And then, but Montana does have state taxes. So it would vary. Those would actually be something you would need to figure or visit your local accountant to help you with that.
Yeah. Okay, super. All right, let's move on to like some schedule questions here. Okay, multiple people have asked, is 32 the minimum? Is there any possibility for even more part-time hours than that?
Go ahead, Kayla.
So 32 is the minimum, because we do hire at that full-time range. If you are looking for something maybe I guess less hours, maybe on the part-time side, it could be something that we talk about, but it's not going to be a guarantee at the moment. It is something that we could potentially look into.
Okay, and would 32 be, if folks want it, would they be guaranteed at least 32 hours a week?
Yes, 32 is we are giving at least 32.
Okay, super. Are there any opportunities for overtime if they did want to do over 40?
Oh, overtime's not a thing we want to do, but
Yeah.
so I will say no to that. But again, things may happen where we could be short and it could happen, but it's not something we plan for.
Sure, okay. And if folks are wanting to do just the 32 hours a week, would that still be spread out over 5 days in a week, or could they have it in 4?
It would depend. We say 32 to 36 hours a week. You don't really get to choose, to be honest, to have just 32. It goes on business needs. So the schedules are all made on the demand and the business needs. Some stores do operate on a 4-day work schedule, but it varies per location and it varies per needs of each location. And it may vary even per week of operation.
Okay, okay. Alrighty, sounds good. Let's see, another question here, because you did mention, 5 days a week with 2 days off consecutively is what they try to do their best to schedule for. Would it be possible to get your 2 days off at the end of one week and then have your 2 days off at the start of the next week? So technically you kind of have 4 days off to give you a chance to maybe go explore a specific area of the park.
That's similar to the hours required. Yes, it is possible. Each manager does their own scheduling per store, again, on business needs. Another option is to switch with some folks. The schedules do come out 2 weeks in advance. So there's options to be able to change, with some friends or whatever, so that you were able to have 4 days off.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, that sounds good. And what are the typical hours that the stores are open, and thus typical hours of schedules, a work schedule?
Our hours are dictated by the National Park Service. This coming 2025 season, our hours have been extended. Our large stores will be open from 7:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. Some of our smaller locations will be open from 9 to 6:30, and some others will be open from 9 to 6. So that'll vary per location. And like I said, those were the latest would be an 8 o'clock. And usually we can get out pretty quick after that. So, 8:15, 8:30 being the latest, you would be out. And starting in the morning, some of our staff comes in before hours to receive grocery orders or things like that. So if you're on one of those crews, you may come in a little bit before the start time as well.
Okay, okay. And as far as start dates for the season itself, would you mind kind of going over the varying dates of how your season works?
Sure. Our season starts in April. Our maintenance crew comes in usually the last week of March, first week of April, and they work through the last week of October. They start by setting, getting the stores ready and then closing the stores down at the end of the season. 2 weeks later, the new group comes in for Old Faithful Upper. It's one of the first stores to open. It's also the last store to close. So that season goes from April to October as well. And then we have Canyon Fishing Bridge that will open at the beginning of May and run through October as well. And then the rest of the stores vary. The latest ones being our Adventure, this year our Lake Store, and Bridge Bay will all be opening in June.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot of logistics to cover there. Oh boy. Awesome. All right. Talking a little bit about different positions. Do you guys have warehouse positions or mail processing positions?
We do have warehouse positions. That is one of the positions that's located in West Yellowstone, Montana, and right outside of our main office area. Mail sorting positions, we don't have anything like that, but we do offer like data entry clerk positions, like cash room positions. Those admin type positions are also located in the Montana area, where our main offices are. So we do have those types of positions, definitely.
Okay, super. So some folks who maybe aren't as physically inclined might be able to be considered for maybe one of those administrative positions, or maybe some other positions that wouldn't quite be as fast-paced or physical as some of the others.
Yeah, definitely. When you are looking at the open positions that we have, all of them should have like the physical requirements for the specific position, and we can always talk about what you will be doing and what's needed during the interview as well to make sure it's like we can accommodate and it's suitable for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. And do you have any positions that involve driving vehicles? And if so, would those positions require any additional license endorsements?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Linda, but I don't believe any of them require any specific driving endorsements, like any kind of different class driving licenses. But we do offer driving. We have a warehouse driver position. We have a cash room driver position. Our maintenance position, they are doing some driving throughout the park. We have an electrician position that is requires some driving, painter, our fleet mechanic position. So we do have a lot of different driving positions available, but none of them should require any special license, just a regular driver's license.
They do require a DOT physical and drug test.
Sure. Okay. Makes sense. All right. If folks are applying as a couple or two-person team, would they work in separate departments? Could they work in the same department? How would that go? Probably depends on the person, maybe, and what they want to do.
Oh, definitely. So you can work in the same department if you are a couple. I will say if you would like to have the same days off as your partner, it's more likely to happen if you are not in the same department. So for instance, one can work in like retail, so maybe retail cashier, retail stocker. The other can be in grocery, so grocery stocker, or warehouse. So the store managers can accommodate and give you the same days off, so you are off together. When you're working in the same department, it's harder because you can't. It's you usually can't be off at the same time. One person would need to be working when someone else is off, depending on the store and the size of the store, because it all kind of circles around the people who are working. So you can be in the same store if you are a couple. It's just easier being in different departments. And being in those departments, you're still, you can wave to each other. You still see each other all the time, but you're just not in that same department.
Sure. Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right, let's talk about the application process here, and then we'll wrap things up after that. So how many applications do you guys typically get for the season, and usually how many jobs are available?
Let's see. So we get a lot of applications, definitely. We get hundreds. And we typically are hiring, and this is going to include returning folks from previous seasons, about 400 to 500 people every season. Depending on our returning, I'm going to say we're looking to hire approximately maybe 200 to 300 people this season. So we do definitely get a lot of applications. We are, like Linda said, we use our online system, ISOMs. So on the positions that you're interested in, feel free to apply as many as you'd like. They do have pre-screening questions to sort of narrow down the process. So it asks when you are available, the qualifications you may have for the specific job, if you are coming in an RV. So it does help narrow down the locations and the positions that we have. So we can sort of, when we do talk to you, say, hey, your RV may not fit in this store, so maybe let's focus on this specific position. So whatever you're interested in, we tell everyone to just go ahead and apply, and then we'll have one interview with you and talk to you about all of the different options that we have.
I'm also going to add, sorry, Jody. I'm also going to add, if you have a resume, when you can upload it onto that ISOM system, and then that helps with the screening as well. You know, we can tell from your current resume, you know, what positions might be best fit for you.
Awesome. Okay. So in that application process, like you were saying, they're able to select maybe multiple positions that they'd be interested in, or they need to submit a new application for each position they would like to consider.
You apply separately for each position.
Yeah. Yep, you have to do each application separately. They're all very fast to complete, and some do have specific questions to that specific position. So yeah, they do have to be separate, but they are all pretty quick to get through.
Cool. Okay. And just to let everybody know, the application process starts on their website, which is DN, which stands for Delaware North, dn.careers/Yellowstone. And you'll see that there on the screen, and I'll be sure to include it in the follow-up email as well. So visit that website to find more information and to see the job positions that Linda and Kayla have been talking about here. All right, a couple more questions on the application process. This person says they submitted an application, but it was just a pre-screening. It said, do you reach out to me now?
Yeah, we do. We do. So we have our positions opened. When do they open? I believe November 1st. So we are going through and starting to look through all of the applications, and we'll be reaching out to you based on your preferred method. That's usually, I think, on all of our all of our applications, we ask, what is your preferred method of communication? So we'll be reaching out to people very soon to get the interviewing started.
Okay, super. And on average, how quickly after the application would they be contacted? Kind of hard to say. Depends on like you guys are going to get a lot of applications in the next week.
Yeah, it's on average, I'd say a few days. We've been traveling and just kind of getting everything together over the past week or so. So we are seeing all of them come in, and on average, once we kind of get the flow into it, I'd say after a few days. And we will be reaching out to schedule interviews. So keep an eye on your emails. That's going to be a lot of the first initial contacts. Emails, phone calls, texts are the options. But just keep an eye on your emails to make sure that like we haven't reached out to set up an interview that way, phone calls and all that stuff as well. So after a few days, I'd say on average.
Sure. Okay. And folks that have worked for you guys in the past, maybe, you know, in 2023 or 2022, do they need to go through the application process again on the website to look at 2025?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
They should reapply. Yep.
Okay, super. Alrighty. And when you guys do, you know, give an offer letter to a potential associate, does the offer letter go via snail mail or by email? Or maybe it's
Email.
on your website.
Through email. Yep.
Yep. Email. Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, and we just have a few kind of random questions here that I've just been holding on to. So what about for 2026? Will things likely be similar, and when could they, you know, start applying or getting information for summer 2026?
We open our applications every year, the beginning of November. So the applications for the 2026 season will open then. They can send us an email now and say they'd like to get on a list for 2026. We keep email information listings for coming years. A lot of our work campers are planners and they're already planning ahead for 26. So we put them on that list, and then when our jobs open in November, they'll get a reminder email that the 26 season has opened.
Awesome. All right, very cool. Okay, random question number one. Can associates have a cooler inside of their truck?
It can be inside the cab of the truck. It cannot be in the back of the truck. The bears are very active in Yellowstone, and it's best to keep it in a sealed environment. The back, or the ravens. The ravens also like coolers very much. So those two creatures seem to get into coolers. They will not get it in your RV. They will most likely not get it inside your truck as well. So if you know, you'd keep it in the cab part of your truck.
Okay, cool. All right, are associates allowed to have water bottles with them while they are working?
Yes, you want to be hydrated here. And it goes to that green practice as well. We really encourage you to reuse a reusable water bottle, and we have filling stations at each of our stores.
Awesome. All right, and this person says mosquitoes? Question mark.
Large ones and lots. Yellowstone is not known for its bugs, but we do have a really heavy mosquito season that begins usually in June out of nowhere and ends rather abruptly too. It's all moisture dependent on the winter. So you're never quite sure when it's going to start, and it's very heavy for a few weeks, and then it dies off without notice as well. So yes, there is. Many RVers have like little screen rooms that we put up to be able to sit outside during those times. But yes, there's definitely mosquitoes here.
Sure, makes sense. Alrighty, for folks that are maybe coming as a pair, but only one of them is going to be working for Yellowstone General Stores, is it possible for the non-working partner to be a part of the meal plan?
No, you must be an employee of Delaware North in order to be part of the meal plan.
Sure, makes sense. Okay. All right, well, Kayla, Linda, you guys did it. We had some other questions that came in, but it was stuff that we'd already repeated. So if you feel like I didn't give your question a shout out, it was talked about during the webinar. So all registrants will receive an email with a link to the recording, so you can go back and watch it through to get, you know, anything answered that maybe you missed or we didn't iterate again. But Kayla, Linda, you guys did a wonderful job, shared a lot of good details. I think a lot of folks now can, you know, go home and think more critically and decide if they're ready to apply, and hopefully they will. But is there anything else that you guys would like to share before we wrap up?
No, thank you, Jody, for having us again this year. We look forward to the next webinar in December. And folks, feel free to reach out to the email that's been on the screen. I'd love to answer any of your questions. It's fun, have been a work camper myself. I can relate to a lot of your anxieties in doing this. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, it was great talking with everyone. And yes, if there's additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly. I am not personally a work camper, so I will pass along questions I don't know to Linda. But I'm here to help with just in general the positions, any kind of questions about benefits, Delaware North and application process, anything like that. But yeah, we're looking forward to if anyone else joins us in December, we're looking forward to talking to you guys then.
Awesome. All right. Well, you can always get more information on work camping for Yellowstone General Stores on their featured employer page at workamper.com/Yellowstone. We'll have the recording of the Jobinar there. And yes, we are doing another one of these in December. So folks are welcome to, join and register and attend again. We may have some different questions come up that weren't answered in this one. You just never know what we may end up talking about. So it is always good to attend both. So we look forward to maybe seeing y'all in December as well. But I just want to say thanks again to the Delaware North team. It has been a long time pleasure working with you all, and you guys have really created a great work camping program that is a positive experience for a lot of work campers out there. So if Yellowstone is on your bucket list, this is a great avenue for getting that checked off the list. So with that, thank you everyone for listening in, and we wish you safe travels and happy work camping. Bye everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.